class. Welcome back. You may have noticed a little different scenery. In fact, you may know exactly where I am. And I just have to show you, just for old time's sake, this is this is the room. Look how empty it is. You can probably see your chair. You're probably wishing you were in your chair right now, right? I know all of you are wishing. In fact, I know all of you wish you were here because this is your favorite class. This is your favorite place to be. I understand that. I get you. I know. But we're still together in spirit, and I hope that you guys are staying encouraged. I can't believe that we're almost done. It's almost summertime. Some may say it feels like summertime now. It's just we got to do some school. Um, no matter how you feel, it's almost done. It's crazy how close we are this week and next week. So hang in there, stay strong, keep working hard just as you guys have been. And I'm proud of you guys for it, and I know you guys will continue to work hard. I want to thank you for those that have reached out to me with questions. Please keep asking me questions. Feel free to call me. Feel free to email me, to message me on Edmodo. I want to help you guys as much as possible to get through this last section, this last chapter, as we're preparing for a test. We're going to have our test on Thursday of this week. So this is why I chose to do this last section, because this may be the harder one. But we're reviewing in our Zoom. We're going to review, and then today we're doing review lessons, and then on Thursday you'll be taking your test over chapter 13. Hope you guys have enjoyed chapter 13. It's one of my favorite chapters. I like graphing. But today, 13.6 is probably one of my favorites out of the whole entire chapter. So, one is because there's a lot of stories with 13.6. I know many of you are like, oh, Mr. Powell, I wish you were teaching history. All you do is tell us stories. You don't even tell us history, which I hope that's not true. I hope I actually teach you history. But math, it's really hard to tell stories. But let me tell you, I got a lot of stories for today. In fact, I was trying to think which stories would work best, so I thought I'd tell them all. You know, why not? I won't tell them all, but the first one I bring up is slope. What's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of slope? Um, I don't know what else could come to your mind. My first thought was ski slopes. I don't know if you've been skiing before. I think I've talked to some that have. I went skiing over the winter break, or this winter, and normally I'm used to skiing down hills. By the way, this is probably the most quiet it's ever been while I'm teaching. I wonder if I wonder if it would ever be this quiet if you guys were here. To be honest, it's kind of sad that it's this quiet. I need some noise in here. It's so weird. Anyway, I got distracted by the quiet. Wow, this is messing with me. But ski slopes. If you know anything about ski slopes, they are color coordinated. So green means easy. That's mine. Obviously green. By the way, if you didn't know, this is green shirt. Color kind of makes it different. But green is easy. And then if you want to step up a little bit, then it's blue. But then if you want to go a little further, then it's black. But then if you're advanced, then it's double black. And it's like, that is, you're professional, you're an Olympian, you can do the double black courses. Well, one year when I was skiing, my brother and I decided to do a black because we're like, oh, we're good, we can do this. Yeah, that was a bad mistake. In fact, some of you may notice I walk with a limp and my face is a little off. Now it all makes sense. I know, that's why my face is a little weird. Yeah, no, I survived. Okay, my brother did as well. But let me tell you, it was pretty scary. The slope was not straight down, but it was steep. Now, how do we get that word slope, or the slope was super steep? Well, the next story I have, we also talk with it with houses. I'll get back to that. But let's put this on full, that way you can see it. Now, whenever I was younger, my favorite thing to do was to help my dad with projects around the house. And one of my favorite projects was roofing, like changing the roof on the house. Well, I'll never forget, we were helping one of our friends' roof and it was looking like rain, and you don't want to do it with rain because then rain will get inside your house. So we decided not to do it, and I was mad. Like, I was mad that I didn't get to work. I don't know if that makes sense, but I was upset that I couldn't work. I know, weird. But one thing my brother and I like to do whenever we were on top of a roof, one, we felt like powerful, like we were on top of the world. But depending on how much the roof sloped, depending on how much fun we could have. The most steep I've done was my parents' house. That was literally, if this was the roof, it was probably, let me scoot over. It was probably like this, probably about this steep, to where you could not walk on it without a rope hanging on. So that was pretty steep. That was pretty scary. Some I've done pretty flat roofs. You want it a little sloped, that way the water will run off. But if it's not too sloped, then it's super easy to walk on. Well, this house that I was helping my dad with one time was fairly sloped. It wasn't too bad that you needed ropes, but me and my brother were climbing around on the roof all the time. And we had the bright idea of sliding down the house, down the roof. So we're like, oh, this will be perfect. This will be fun. You know, Dad's over there working, and my brother and I are here sliding down the roof. Well, of course, my brother, it wasn't me, my brother, that as he slides down, I don't know if you know the material roofs are made out of, but it's really rock. It's kind of glued onto this paper. And so my brother was sliding down and he tore a hole in his pants. And here he had his underwear sticking out of his pants, just this big hole in the bottom of his pants. Super embarrassing. We all laughed at him, made fun of him. It was great. It was a great time. Anyway, that was our fun, sliding down the roof. Now, what is slope? The slope is, by mathematical definition, let's look at our textbook. Slope is rise over run. The ratio of rise over run. Very simply, it's a fraction, all right? It's a fraction of rise over run. So slope is always going to be a fraction. I know how many of us feel about fractions, but this is going to be your answer. Now, if we ever get a 1 on the bottom, then really we just get the number on top. I'll show you an example of it. But notice in the example here in the book, it says the slope is 2 over 3. How did they get 2 over 3? Well, in this example, they're going to count the rise over run. So first is the rise. What did it rise? From this point to the second point. Well, we went 1, 2. We went 2 up. Our rise was positive 2 because we went up. If we went down, it'd be negative. And then we got to find the run because it's rise over run. So what's the run? You run forward backwards. You rise up and down, like out of bed, you rise up and down, and then you run back and forth. So the run is going to be from back and forth. Well, we go to the right because we went up from this spot up to 5, so that's 2. So our rise is 2, and then from here we got to go over to the right 1, 2, 3 places. Since we went to the right, right is positive, just like on our board, on a number line, right is positive, and then we counted 3. So our run is 2, 3. Let's look at another example. You do want to memorize this paragraph at the, or this formula at the bottom, but let's look at example number 1. It says that we're supposed to find the slope from point 1 to point 2. Okay, what's the first thing that we're going to do? We're going to write our formula, rise over run. All right, are you guys able to see this? Let me make sure. I want to make sure I'm still in camera shot. No, it's all about the angle. Yes, so rise over run. What is our rise? Well, let's count from this point. Let's go all the way to point 2. So we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Our rise is 6. Now what is our run? Notice it's positive because we went up. So what's our run? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Our run is positive 5. So this is our final answer. We will leave it in improper fraction form. So our answer is our slope is 6 over 5. And that's your answer. That's all you have to do. So let's look at skill check 1. Go ahead and pause it and do skill check 1 as I give you the answer now. All right, let's look back. We have skill check 1. We're going to go from point 1 to point 2. What's the slope? Well, first we're going to find our rise. So let's draw our fraction bar. Our rise is 1, 2. We're going to go up 2 places, positive 2. Let's see our run. 1, 2, 3. That sounds familiar. We went to the right, so our run is 3. 2, 3 is the answer to skill check 1. Now, sometimes it may be negative. In fact, notice how all of these lines were sloping. They were sloping what we say up and to the right. Notice it's up and to the right. This one is up and to the right. Typically, if you ever see it going this way, I don't know, it may be backwards. But if it's ever up and to the right, then it's positive. Now, if it's ever down and to the right, then it's negative. And we'll look at an example right now. It says find the slope. Here we have point 1, here we have point 2, okay? We're going to find our rise over run. What is our rise? From point 1 to point 2. Now notice we have to go down. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Since we went down 4, it's going to be negative 4. And then let's go over to point 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's positive 6 since we went to the right. So it's negative 4, 6, but you always want to reduce. 4, 6 can be reduced to negative, let's divide them both by 2, negative 2 over 3. So our slope is negative 2 over 3. Negative 2 over 3. Let's try skill check number 2. Try skill check number 2. And I'll get your answer now. Go ahead and pause it if you haven't gotten there yet. Let's check. We're going to go from point 1 to point 2, so let's check it. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, is that 6 going to be positive or negative? It's going to be negative because we went down. And then we were going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's going to be positive or negative? Positive because we went to the right. So, negative 6 over 5, is that reduced? Yes. So our answer is negative 6 over 5. Now, there's two other different kind of slopes. What if you're on a flat surface like the room, like the ground? Hopefully the ground is flat. But what if you're flat? What is the slope? The slope is 0. Let's look. Well, what is the rise over run? Well, let's check from point 1 to point 2. How much did we go up or down? How much did we go up or down? We didn't go up or down at all. So that's 0. And then how much did we go to the right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So positive 4. What is 0 over 4? Anytime you have 0 on top, remember it's just like dividing here. So what times 4 is 0? 0. So our answer is 0. So if you ever have a straight line, the slope is 0. Okay? But what if you have a straight line going up and down? A horizontal line is 0. What about straight up and down? Let's look at an example on the next page. Let's go from point 1 to point 2. How much did we rise? How much did we rise? Well, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4. We went positive 4. How much did we go left or right? We didn't go any left or right. Now, you may say, oh, it's 0. No, it's not. Because anytime we have a 0 in the denominator, what we're saying is 4 divided by 0. What times 0 is 4? 4. 4 times 0 is 0. Any number you put up here times 0 is always going to give you 0. So you will never, ever, ever get an answer. In fact, what we say is, we say undefined. And all you have to put is UND, undefined. If you ever have a 0 in the denominator, you will never get an answer. It's undefined. It's impossible to get an answer. So If it's straight up and down, is